All right. Oh, y'all need to see me, don't you? What's up, everybody? I hope that you are doing well. Um, okay. Can everybody hear me? Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much for tuning in with me on tonight. I am Dr. Leslie Francisco McClendon, and y'all, tonight is Ladies' Night. As you can see behind me, we have it lit tonight. So y'all can do the same thing in the chat. Hey, this is going to be a time for us to really engage, to have some honest, amazing conversation. I can't wait to see what is going to go down tonight. Hey, if you haven't done so already, would you do me a really, really big favor and share this with your network, in your groups? You can host a watch party, because I promise y'all, we are going to have some real talk conversation tonight. We are taking all of the covers off. So if y'all want to engage with us in the comments, we're going to make sure that we talk back to you. This is going to be very interactive, and I'm just excited. So I'm not going to take up all the time. I have a wonderful host of interviews lined up for us tonight. So I'm going to do my best to go ahead and introduce the people that I have coming tonight. The first person that I'm going to introduce is, y'all may know her, you may not, but it is my blood sister. Her name is Nicole Francisco Bailey. She is one of our premier guests tonight. So we're going to bring her up in the comments. Nicole, where are you? Let's see. What's up?
Hey.
How
How
you
y'all doing
doing?
tonight? I'm good. How are you? Flossy
I
Cassie.
am doing well. I know. I don't know if y'all name me that or if I deem myself that, but I'm gonna rep the brand. So I just invited you, y'all. This is Nicole Francisco Bailey. She will introduce herself at a later time, but we'll give it up for her. Welcome to the chat. Next up, we've got another phenomenal young woman. Her name is Cynthia Jackson. Come on, let's bring Cynthia up in the chat. Where are you at? Where are you at?
I'm right here.
Hey, Miss
Hi.
Jackson. How you doing?
Hi.
You got
Good. How
Where's
are
your
y'all?
shirt at?
Uh,
You're doing
it's right
great.
here. Can you see it?
I see it. Oop.
Okay.
All right. Next in the chat, I want to welcome to our platform Miss Leah Marks. Leah, where are you at? Are you
Hi,
here?
everybody.
There you go. There you go. Everybody, that's Leah
Hi, Caroline.
with the kids in the background. Next in the chat, we have Sierra. Come on, put your hands
Hello.
together. What's up, C? And then
Hello.
last but certainly not least, we've
Hey,
got
Steve.
Hey, Nicole.
Kashama in the house. Kashama, come on in and greet the people. All right, you got
Hey, come on, Sarah.
I I mean just
I
stuck
got my
frozen.
pajamas.
First of all, okay, welcome.
Kasama.
Welcome, Kashama. Are you there? Can you greet the people? There she go. Look, I saw Lauren post a comment up there, and that was hilarious to me. She said, "Lord, all the divas out. I got my popcorn."
Well, I got mine too.
So let's get right into this.
Shama, I think
We'll we'll do a couple introductions. Um, tell everybody who you are. Maybe just like one thing about yourself. I see everybody's got the shirts on. Um, so we can kind of talk about that. Well, we don't have to do it now. Let's talk about it in the middle of the conversation. I kind of want to talk about how this group formed. Anybody want to take a stab at that? Come on, it's
I
open.
was the
Don't
last
don't
one in
play
the group,
shy.
so
Okay, well I'm gonna tell y'all how I think this group started. Anyways,
I was
Okay.
gonna say, I'll say it.
go ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
trying not to be takeover here. Okay, so we were participating in a women's fellowship. We all, well, almost all of us, came out to the women's fellowship event.
Already
It was for
starting.
the Heart Health Month in February.
Yep.
I'm just saying. That's how the story started. So we were all there. It's for Heart Health Month, and it was me and Shama and CJ, who was listed as Miss Jackson, and Leah. And we were just vibing. We started a conversation, and it never stopped.
The truth of the matter is I'm more of an original member than Sierra, but I dropped out. Let me stop.
I
I was there before the original group formed, and I remember this
That's true.
formed, of course, with the Women of Worth Fellowship, and y'all just kept the conversation going. And I think all the way from the beginning, I was like, "Hey, I'm here if you need me. I'll pop in and out. Y'all enjoy your time, enjoy your fellowship." But we talked about how did this group form, but the real question is, how did y'all decide to keep talking or texting each other?
Hey, Ashley.
I think it was pretty much like y'all said on that day. We all just kind of came together, and then we looked, and it was like an hour or two had passed by, and from there we exchanged numbers. First, Nicole was like, "Put your phone number in here," and I thought she just wanted mine, but she wanted everybody's. And so, so from there, we all just started kind of chatting and texting, and we just kept it going from there. And then we made, we did our little name, little Flossy Posse or whatever, and it just kind of blossomed from there.
Okay. Well, since you brought it up, you kind of talk about the names. Why does each person I see the name of the group? First of all, who named the group? Like where did that come from and why? What is Flossie? What is Posse? Why did you decide to put it together? And then you got like some hashtag under each of that. Kind of walk us through that.
I think Nicole was the first one to kind of introduce Flossy Posse. Is that right? Do y'all remember? You don't
Yeah,
remember?
I'm
I
I
yeah.
think
might have
so.
been. I was joking around, calling us the Flossy Posse because you know that movie Girls Trip with
Hmm.
all the strong black
Minus
women
the
in it
salaciousness.
having a good time. It kind of reminded me of that. Minus the
Leia,
what?
we need a dictionary for you. Use a synonym. My God.
We not raunchy
I'll
like
take it
them.
here.
We
Okay,
classy.
she said mine is the
Oh, gotcha.
salaciousness.
Oh, salaciousness. Yeah, like salacious gossip. You know.
So you named the group Flossy Posse. That is interesting. So I hear that Sierra was kind of like the last person to come in, and why is that?
Shama brought me in. She just texted me, was
Kashama.
like,
I know she ain't asked you before. She asked you before
Kashama,
she
we got to
asked
get
us.
your mic working because they about to drag you, and you need to defend yourself.
And she
hello,
frozen.
she ain't here.
She's
She might need to call one of y'all on the phone, and we just put
Go
her
ahead,
on
C.
speaker.
Well, Shama texted me separately asking if I wanted to be a
ooh,
part of it. So I told her, yeah.
You say yeah
Did
like
you
that, or
really?
you say
Did
you
you
don't think about
right?
it.
When you
sounds
say
so
that, I'm like, did you
reluctant.
really want to, or was it kind of like,
Like sound like you
Um,
was
yes? And I'm like,
forced.
this
well,
is out.
I didn't really want to.
Oh,
But Shama makes people because she knows
Well, then
Ooh.
why you here?
because Shama made me. And so, but I enjoy it now. But back then I
Ooh.
was just like,
Did
I ain't
did
got
y'all know this
I
about
feel so
Sierra that
kind of
she didn't
voice.
want to be a part
Okay.
of your group, or is this a new discovery?
No,
that's new for us.
Ooh.
no.
This is
This
a
is
new
all
I
discovery.
new
mean,
I mean, I could
I
have
was
information.
guessed it, but she didn't
I
show up the
wasn't
first
there for
three
the
times.
conversation, so I didn't know that I didn't know. Only knew Nicole
Oh
and
my
Shama.
gosh.
Well, this is why Shama's name is Per Lady, and Leia gave her that name, and you
Yeah,
named
I
her.
thought that was a little interesting that everybody kind of just had their names going around, and then she has this like purr with all these R's in there. Like, what is that all about?
Cat
I
lady.
don't know what the R stands for.
Kashama's the cat lady. She takes in all the strays.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
She's
Hey.
everybody's friend. But we love you, Shama.
Time out. So, are y'all calling Sierra a stray?
Right.
I was gonna
No,
say Sarah's
That's
not a
no,
Leia.
stray.
Right. Okay.
no,
Exactly.
That came
no,
off
Exactly.
really, really.
no, because
So,
Kashama and
so I'm
Sierra were
making an
already
observation
friends.
really quickly. I'm making an observation. It sounds like Leia, you are the really blunt one. Like you're the
I
type of person
am.
that say stuff
I
and people have to go back and polish it and be like, she ain't mean it like that.
Mm-hmm.
but I did
But you
though.
probably did.
But I did
Right.
though.
Which is like,
Mm.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that is ridiculous.
I
So
don't know
Pray
what
for
with
me.
Shama.
She's a very
Kashama
strong
being
group
the
of women,
cat
but
lady or whatever, has she tried to bring anybody else in or?
No, just
No,
Sierra.
no, about the time Sierra came in, we all had read this article. I don't know who started it, Leia or me or CJ, I
Uh,
it
can't
was
remember, but
you.
it said friend groups It was me. Okay. Friend groups are
You can do
great. They're usually maximized at four. At four, no, at five. They said no more than five if you want to keep the drama low and keep the bond strong. And so we were like, okay,
it. That's
so about five, we'll go ahead. It's not like we can't have other friends or anything, but the
Hmm.
Flossy Posse is complete.
Well, we want to know. I think when people are watching, of course, we're having a conversation, but we want to know about the drama. So, thinking about that,
Ooh,
like, is there a ringleader of the group,
fine.
and who would that person be?
Take a
Between
guess.
First of
Nicole and
all, wait.
Cynthia.
Let's ask the audience. Hey, all of y'all who are watching us live right now, would you put that up in the comments? Out of all of the ladies that you see here, you got Nicole, you got Cynthia, Kashama, Sierra, and Leia. Which one of y'all do y'all think is the ringleader of the group? Let's see if they can figure it out just from talking to y'all for the last 11 minutes. Ooh, y'all rude. It's an
Don't throw
exclusive club.
me.
Lauren, that's what I was feeling too. I was like, my goodness.
we can
What?
take visitors, like, you know, a
Okay,
little
Maka Hell
visitor.
says she thinks Leia is the lead.
Ooh,
Ooh,
So somebody else said, "Do you
Sister
even have to ask
Vita.
Nicole?" What else?
ooh.
That's not the truth.
Ashlyn says Nicole. Who else
Let
we
me just
got?
take my
Oh, I got
report.
another one for Leia.
Wow, Leia. Two
That's
votes for Leia.
that's two
Two
votes
for
for Leia.
Nicole.
Thank
Three
you.
votes now,
What?
Thank you,
Nicole.
Aaron.
They don't know
Nope.
Cynthia.
Oh,
They don't know
four
Cynthia.
votes Nicole.
Nicole.
Five votes
Nicole.
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 No,
Come on now. We
Nicole.
about to.
So
Okay, that's because
Nicole.
CJ being quiet and Kashama couldn't even talk. She was muted.
so I guess my question so far is 8 votes Nicole. My question is Nicole the true ringleader, or do they not know all of y'all enough?
Oh, all of us enough.
They don't know
I would say
Cynthia.
Nicole is the ringleader, but Nicole does tend to take over. If it ain't going right, Nicole is gonna take over.
Shama got a voice.
So I also noticed
Well, my name is.
Take over.
all right, so let's do that really quickly so the audience can just get to know y'all a little bit better. All of y'all have hashtags on your shirts. Can you kind of explain what your hashtags are and how that correlates to your personality and what it is that you contribute or maybe even fail to contribute to your group?
Well,
Well, I got
mine.
I got a purdy on my shirt because they call me the cat lady, and they say that I take in all the strays. Whereas I would like to take it as I love everybody, and I don't like to have anybody feel left out. So if I feel like you're being excluded, I like to include you. Hence why I brought my twin in. Hey, Sierra.
Yes. Hey, girl.
Okay.
You didn't
So,
tell us, Shama, though, that she didn't even want to come. You didn't tell us
You
right,
that
did
did,
you
part.
miss that
I
yeah.
was
part,
just.
Kashanda?
No.
I
She
was
You
said
just
left
she
that
didn't
part
want to
saying.
be in the
out.
group. She just did it to you as a favor.
Because you
Yeah,
told
because
her
we
to
would
do
have
it.
voted.
She asked me.
Well, Sierra, now you like it, so it's fine.
Yes.
All right, so Kashama is the cat lady because she's very inclusive. It sounds like the rest of y'all are extremely exclusive, but we'll work on that. There's grace for you. But after the purr lady, let's see. Um, Sierra, you're next on my screen. What is your hashtag and
Mine
why?
is indecisive.
Oh,
Um, that's because I'm the one that usually might not show up to an event.
Mike?
But that was back in the day. Now in 2020, since we've been quarantined, I have been showing
okay.
up.
Yes,
Everybody,
we
can
have been
everybody just
anywhere.
give a hand clap for Sierra for showing up? That is major progress. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Okay, so you are indecisive, but now you're showing up more. So I take that to mean when Corona leaves, that you're gonna show up a whole lot more.
Yes, I will.
Y'all saw how she rolled those eyes. She's thinking about it.
Well, we got you on camera now, so right.
Right.
Do you show up in the text messages? That's the question.
Later.
Yeah,
The next day.
I believe so.
Okay. Now, Leia, what about you? What's your hashtag and why?
I am, y'all can see it, the pineapple.
That's
And
okay.
that's
Hmm.
because the pineapple has a spiky, hard exterior, but you got to cut through that to get to the sweet side.
Okay. So there
We
is a
still
sweet side of
cutting.
you. We
We,
just
we still
I just,
cutting.
yeah,
okay.
we still cutting.
And you're also very stubborn. Y'all, for those of you who don't know, Leia is the only one of the group who does not have an iPhone.
I
And she
don't.
ruins everybody's text messages. You
I
can't
don't
even
see
name
the
the group.
I don't see the green dot.
You are a green dot,
I
okay?
don't see it.
Love
I don't
always
see it.
talk about Sierra.
I know. I
Oh,
saw
I
that.
like that. Lauren says pineapple still can be tart and burn you, though.
Mm.
Because
That's
even
true.
though you're sweet on the inside, if you eat too much of a pineapple, you'll walk away with canker sores.
This is
Oh,
accurate.
Ooh,
That
we
fits
worked
her.
through that.
Just pray
Ooh,
for me.
okay, I'll do my best. All right, Cynthia, what about you? What's your hashtag and why?
Well, first of all, I didn't make it to the whole conversation about the names.
Oh, really?
So
How did that
mine is
work?
kind of, yeah, like a little orphan Cindy is yeah.
Oh,
Mine
wow, that's
is
stupid.
oof. Oh, can y'all see? Okay. PH oof. I
Like
did make
that's
the
not
I
her
made
Oompa
a
name.
Loompa, or
definition
like
for
you
it.
gotta explain that.
No, like oof, like that. Oof.
Oh,
Say it. Oof, like that.
Oof.
So,
ooh,
oof is a sound of surprise or discontent with the use
She
or
looked it
choice
up.
of words. I made
Not
it.
the dictionary.
I don't like those eyes are rolling. I mean, she is
Listen,
straight
She done went on the
listen.
reading.
Urban Dictionary.
I made it. It's my
Oh, oh.
a
Oof.
sound of surprise or
See?
Okay.
discontent with the
See
use
what
or
y'all don't
choice
see.
of words and or actions from another individual. So if I didn't enjoy what you said or I need a little time to process or you taught me, caught me by surprise, I might be like, ooh, okay then. So that's why that's my hashtag.
That is crazy. And then last but not least, we got Nicole, and I'm guessing her hashtag is pretty self-explanatory. The takeover.
No, it's not.
Oh, you have a
So
different. Would you like to
I'm
read
Nicole
takeover from
Francisco
the Urban
Bailey.
Dictionary too?
Thank you. No, I'm gonna read it from Nicole's dictionary. Does not mean take over in a bad way. It means that where leadership is needed, I will step up to the task.
Okay then.
Right? Or
Right.
it means that I'm so used to leading that sometimes I just take over no matter what, and then you got to be like, okay, take over, have a
Now
seat,
that
and
part
that's it.
resonates a
That
little
would be
more. That
definition number 2.
right? That part makes more sense. And I think if anybody needs
Yeah,
prayer,
because
it's
I
me,
wanted.
because I'm the one who has to pastor all of these hashtags. So I need all the prayer that I can get. So we talked about how it seems like Kashama is truly the only one who is inclusive. But here's a question. I hear a whole bunch of
No,
people that say, I'm going to do me. I don't need no new friends. What would y'all say is the purpose of friendship? Like, why do you need sisterhood? Why do you need friends? I mean, is it necessary? Can you get through life without having some? Or who wants to speak to that one at a time, please?
I'll start. So I'll just speak from like my own personal, even before like the group came together. I would see like my friends or people I know from like school that had built relationships, from college or like high school or whatever. And I was like, wow, I don't have that just
Mm,
because I didn't maintain or foster those relationships. Because during that time, I was worried about getting married, I was worried about having kids. So I kind of made that my priority. And no matter, how strong you are or how much you feel like, I'm good. Like you said, I'm going to do me. I'm fine by myself. You need people. You do. You need people. You need a
yeah.
circle. You need someone that you can talk to, somebody that can chime in with you, somebody you can bounce ideas off of, somebody to, just talk to or tell you, girl, you tripping. Get it together. So this group is really a blessing. It's a blessing to me, and I'm so grateful that we were all able to come together. But it definitely is necessary. So even if you feel like, no, I don't need friends, I'm by myself, that's lying. You lying. That's just your defense
Yeah.
mechanism. You do. You need friends. You need people.
I'm glad you speak to that because I have found too that a lot of the people who say no new friends have like gotten burnt out of friendships. And if we're honest, like there can be a point where you have been burned and you like bump that. I mean, and if you're married, you like I just rock with my husband. I don't need to
Right.
hang with nobody else. It's just me and my kids. It is what it is. But I'm appreciative for you sharing that because I think that's real. Anybody else want to jump on the importance of friendship or just kind of tackling that whole new no new friends phrase?
I think having friends is
Well, I feel
important.
like it's. Oh, go ahead.
They do hold you accountable, and they tell you when you're right and when you're wrong. Um, and you can have sisters and family members, but they see you on a regular basis. Your friends are the ones that's going to like, they don't see you every day. So they be like, okay, girl, you tripping. So your family member is going to tell you if you want to hear it. If you got those true circle of friends, they're going to tell you the truth.
Have there been any instances in y'all circle where there has been some truth telling?
Yes.
Yes, Nicole is good at letting you know that you're wrong, girl. Girl, you cannot do that. That's your husband. That's Nicole's
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. When you say stuff like that, like we don't know the context
I
behind
remember
it. I'm like, what were y'all talking about for her to be saying you can't do that? Whatever. Anyways, okay. But Nicole, I think you had something you were about to add on to that too, like the importance of friendships.
I was going to say exact two things, but one of the things was exactly what Shama said: accountability. Friends provide some accountability in different ways that sometimes siblings and sometimes spouses can't do because they see you in a different light. And I also think that friends provide a support system that sometimes you cannot find. You have support in your spouse, and all of us happen to be married. But sometimes girl talk is different than the husband trying to solve all your problems when you tell him the first time something's wrong. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And for me personally, I hear a lot of people saying, I'm of a certain age, I'm 36 personally, but I'm after 30, you can't find new friends. I mean, whatever friends you don't have, you just won't have anymore. And that's not true. I mean, we just came to a church event at C3. We ended up connecting. And I mean, we joke and say we're exclusive, but like we're always open to making new friends, period. So I think that every
Amendment.
woman should just open up. I know personally, I had put something on right.
So
I put something on my vision board maybe like 6 months before we met that just said I was ready to have a new circle of friends. Because even though I had friends, I wanted like I don't know, a different kind of circle, and that's what this provides. And so y'all came right on time.
now with that being said, do y'all feel that it's important to have friends from like um different backgrounds and who have different views? Like would y'all say that y'all agree on everything, or like do y'all have different upbringings, or is everybody pretty similar?
No, I would say well, we probably have some similarities, but we're all different. I think we're all different.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What do y'all think? Do y'all think we're all different?
Mm-hmm.
I think
And
we're
we,
different.
definitely different.
I think we all have similarities in
Yes.
some way, but
Yeah.
not all the
Yeah.
same similarities, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So how would you
Yeah.
describe your difference? I mean, like, is it difference as in like one is more petty, one is more bougie, one's more hood, one's more like whatever? That's the kind of stuff we want to know. Like, if we're gonna get to know you for ladies' night, like we want to get to know you. So tell us the characteristics. Who's who? Who's
So if
the
you want
diva?
that
Who's
friend
the
that's
laid back?
Who's who?
if you want that friend that's gonna knock if you
Well, I'm
off and
laid
ask
back.
questions later, that's me. I'm that friend.
She's the hood one.
Oh,
I ask
Thanks, sis.
questions later. So you say this person is messing with me. If I'm your ride or die friend, I'm gonna be with you to the end, and I'll ask you questions later. But if you at that moment when you call me, I'm jumping and I'm coming.
so we rolling out tonight. I pull up to your house and say, "There's an issue. We need to handle it." You're just like, "Where we going?"
Where we going? What you need?
Hmm.
I'm that.
Mm.
I'm gonna ride with you to the end. And after we get done, and I find out you're wrong, I'm gonna tell you you're wrong. But I'm gonna be with you to the end though.
I can see that. I see that. Yeah.
Yes.
Who else? Who else?
See,
Well,
Erica, you
Nicole's the
had the whole
bougie one.
rundown.
Nicole's the bougie one. Cynthia is the petty one. And Leia's the goofy mixed with hood. And I'm the nice one.
And you bougie 2.0.
And I'm the nice one.
Nice was not an option.
No. She
She
bougie.
she didn't. Yeah, she didn't say nice.
I
Bougie
would
slash petty.
I would say I would say Sierra is the sensitive one,
Yes,
right?
I
Okay.
am
So
Would you
they're
say
sensitive.
you're more
different.
sensitive than us?
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So does that mean that
Hmm.
y'all have
Yeah.
to like uh coat certain things in the way that you present them to her, or how would you
They don't.
define sensitive? Oh, they don't
They
care,
don't do
huh?
that. Mm-mm.
No,
No,
no.
it
But
doesn't. It
that's
doesn't
what I
take away the fact
need.
that she's sensitive, but
That's what I need, though. So I appreciate it.
That's funny.
we're here to
Now,
sharpen. You know.
Yes.
so have there been any moments where like you could just feel through text messages or even in person where you're like, man, this person is crying or they're emotional or their feelings just got all the way jacked up and hurt?
Yeah,
It,
that's
Yeah,
usually when
Yeah.
Cynthia don't respond no more. Is it for her?
is Cynthia
she
emotionally removed?
Yeah, she
she'll
was.
normally
Yep,
say if she
she's
say good
mentally
night, that's
removed.
it.
She
If she say good night,
Yep.
that's it.
Is that why she's? Ooh,
Or be blessed.
Yeah.
oh, I
And be
like be
blessed.
blessed though.
Be blessed.
and block.
That's her nice way of
yeah.
cursing you
It's
out.
serious.
Did
She'll turn.
Did y'all hear that second
She'll
part?
turn you off
I
for a little
like that
bit.
part. She said, "Be blessed
What?
and be blocked." I think that should be like a trending topic. Somebody put that in the comments. If you're not acting right, be blessed and be blocked. I'm going to adopt that as my own because I
Yeah,
think
just
that
move
that's
on.
true.
Go ahead on.
But
We
but
had
you're
we
not gonna
had
block
one
me though.
situation. Y'all want to talk about
Please.
our first like
That's fine.
big get together. Don't
Oh, when
start,
you checked
Nicole.
out?
Yeah, when I checked all the way out for the evening.
We was in
Okay, tell
person.
us the
Yeah, that's
story.
fine.
Who wants to go?
You go ahead. Tell it.
I'm trying not to be
Tell your
takeover.
story.
Go
So,
ahead, Nicole. Go ahead, Nicole. We hear your side, and then
well, I think we were having a very engaging sisterly conversation, and it started getting a little vulnerable. And I think Leah was sharing some vulnerable thoughts, and I think something that was said had made Cynthia just check all the way out. So she literally checked out, and so like Leia's being all super vulnerable, and Cynthia over here like on her phone, like not even paying attention. And like this is a really serious conversation. And I said, excuse me, ma'am, I need you to come on back in here and get out your feelings, and you can take it from there.
some things had happened prior to that, and yeah, they had upset me a little bit, and so yeah, I just got quiet and I just checked out, and then I explained to Takeover that I can listen without actively listening, so I don't have to say
Mm.
things back to listen, and I can look at my phone at the same time if I would like to because I'm grown. hmm And so then after that, yeah, for the whole rest
Are
of the
you the
evening,
oldest?
no, because Shama is the
No,
oldest,
Shama is.
Okay.
and then it would be me. So yeah, and so then after that,
And then
they
I'm
wanted to
second
watch
youngest.
Beyonce Homecoming for the whole night and do all the songs and stuff, and I just was not with it, and I was ready to go. But then I decided to stay, even though me and Sierra would like to leave. I decided to stay because I knew that if I didn't say something to Nicole, it would have been a whole nother issue and looked at the wrong way. So I stayed
Mm.
the whole evening. We had quiche the next day. I picked out the onions and she didn't
It
like
was
that either.
so good.
So
It
it
was
was
so
just
good.
a whole, it was a
I
lot.
forgot about
I think I
that.
cried when I got home. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Well, I think I
And
called a
my
check
husband said I shouldn't go
on you
again.
and
I shouldn't if it's gonna make me upset.
The quiche was really good, Nicole.
But she put
thank
like
you. That was
two
my
The
full
daddy.
quiche
Thank
was
onions
you.
into one, and I didn't want that.
I like
And so
onions,
that's
Nicole.
what you got upset over?
No, that was the next day.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow. So, well, that's interesting.
I don't. Okay, let me side note. So ever since I would say I was younger, I don't like to feel like somebody is ganging up on me. So if you
Mm.
are telling me something or presenting something to me, that's fine, and I'll hear you. But if it's like more than one person, it's multiple people coming at me, I don't like that. So then I feel attacked, and it's either going to be I'm gonna act ugly or I'm gonna shut down. So since it was my first time and I was in someone else's home, I chose to just be quiet and shut down and not be ugly.
Now, did they know this about you previously, or they know that about you now?
They know that about me now.
So, did you have an unrealistic expectation then?
For like our first
Oh, is
get
this
together,
Barry?
That is a
Yeah.
good question. You know what? Yes. I won't say I won't say unrealistic, but if I get really excited about something, or like get my hopes up or whatever, and it doesn't go quite the way I would like for it to go, yeah, it'll upset me a little bit. Hmm.
So would y'all say then, when approaching friendships, like, should you set the bar high as far as standards, but as far as expectations, like go in assuming nothing and just try to learn everything you can? Or how do you think? I mean, I think there are some situations that can't be avoided, but how can you approach a situation so you can get to learn one another versus in the beginning having some of those challenging moments? Or do you think they're just inevitable?
I mean, I don't think you can really go in at expectations, because it's not like you're going to take a clipboard and say, if this situation happens, what are you going to do? I mean, you just
True.
kind of have to flow with it. But the point of it is if you're able to bounce back from it. If you're not,
Yeah.
then y'all probably don't need to be friends. But we're
Yeah.
still here. So
I talk to them
Obviously,
on
y'all have
Sunday and
all been able to be
everything.
bounced back. I guess that leads me to this question. Has anyone ever gotten close to being kicked out of the group?
no.
Cynthia
Well,
might have
that's
kicked herself out.
That part.
right. You take vacations.
I think right. I don't think anybody has gotten kicked out. I don't think we're petty like that. I think everybody in here is grown, and I think people make their own choices as to whether or not they want to get so close in a
Mhm.
friendship. And I think that's what you have to decide. But I think as long as you come to any friendship open, but I think you always have to have some reservations, because as you're getting to know people, you don't want to become
Mhm.
too vulnerable with someone that you don't
Mhm.
trust. But as you build trust with people that you're building in your circle and you feel a comfort level, then you can be open and not be hurt, because you're going to get hurt in every relationship in some regard. But it's about if that friend cares enough to soothe that hurt or work through it and get to the next point of the friendship or relationship.
So would y'all say? I mean, all of y'all are varying age. I think Sierra's the youngest. Like, what are you, 27 or something like that?
Yes.
Um, but would you say that the older that you've gotten, the more mature you feel that the friendships have been? Or are there any moments where y'all feel like, man, this is like sixth grade petty, this is repeating middle school? Or do you feel like where you are now, it's a more seasoned place with your friendship?
I
I
feel
would
like we're in
say,
a good place. Me
yeah.
personally, I do. I'm sorry, Sierra.
Oh, you're fine, Cynthia. But I would say for myself, because I'm not a group friend person, so this was
Hmm.
very different for me, especially with it being all ladies. But I feel like I
Amen.
really needed it at this time in my life, being that I'm married and have kids and involved in church. So when I need advice, I reach out to them, and they all give me their advice, whether I want to hear it or
Hmm.
not.
Well, I mean, if you ask in the group chat,
Yeah, so they've helped me out with a couple of things so far,
Yeah.
especially in
Anybody
marriage.
else? So what? Well, I guess my question. So were you? I can't remember. Were you married when this group was formed, or you kind of like were dating and then you got married while you were in this friendship?
I was already married.
Okay. So
Hmm.
all y'all married. Cool. Anybody else want to speak to
Mhm.
that at all?
And to
Yeah. Go
to
ahead.
answer your question, I feel like the older I've become, because I think C is 27, but the rest of us are like 36 and up. So I think I feel like I am more seasoned. Like, if anything, not in the selection of people I'm with, but in the knowing of
Hmm.
myself and what works well with me. Like, I know myself so much better at 36 than I did at 25 or that I did at 18. So now that I do, I don't put myself in certain situations. I know who I
Yeah.
vibe with and I know who I may not vibe with. And I try not to be judgmental, but still, feel more seasoned to make wiser choices.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. I can say the same about myself. I'm not in your group, but I feel like 31-year-old Leslie is very different than 21-year-old Leslie for the best. But go ahead.
And your hair is fly. On another note,
It
I like
is.
your
You
hair,
know,
the white going on here.
we
That's fly.
you gotta do something
Hmm.
different every now and then, keep people guessing, As soon as they got you figured out, you flip,
Hmm.
pivot a little bit. But with that being said, we discussed that Sierra was the most sensitive Who would you say is the most honest or blunt?
Leia's blunt.
So
Nicole
you
is
don't
probably the most
But
sugarcoat
Yeah, I
honest.
was gonna say
anything.
blunt
but
and
I feel
honest. That's
everyone
a
is
little
pretty much
different.
honest. Leia's just more blunt with her honesty.
Mm. She like
I'm,
raw.
I
Now
have a
I have to
very
ask.
direct communication approach. I don't
So
like to talk around. Straight shooter.
you're direct. My question to direct people is always, you can dish it, but can you take it? If somebody else
Abs-
is direct back to you, are you good with that?
yes, because
Now,
I'm gonna
I'm
give it
not
right
talking.
back.
Now, is she telling the truth? So if y'all give it back to her as a straight shooter, can she take it?
She takes it.
Okay, I guess y'all
I
agree.
think so. I haven't really. I don't know.
So you're the most
Yeah,
blunt.
I would say the thing about Leia that we haven't. I would say the thing about Leia that I don't know if I'm taking over and saying too much, just let me know and I'll just. But I would say that for you, I think it was like an extension of grace to even like come into this friendship too, right? Like you
Yes,
weren't really feeling like you had a whole bunch of like girlfriends,
Hmm.
but this was a big jump and leap of faith for you, as
it
is
was.
what it
And
sounds
to
like.
be perfectly honest, at the beginning of the year, I had prayed to God. I'm like, because to be perfectly, I don't have great relationships with women in general because I am so direct and I am a bit of a strong person and everybody can't handle that.
Hmm.
So I asked God to send me people that would love me for who I am and not be intimidated by me, or where I don't always have to be the strong person in the room. And
Hmm.
then a month later, women's breakfast, and then I get four brand new friends who I don't have to be the strong person in the room if I don't want to.
Hmm. Now, did you ever expect you were going to have a good amount of friendships in church? Because there's this stereotype about church that, like, church people are rude, church people are mean, they only stab you in the back, they don't want blah, 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 XYZ. I mean, the chitter chatter. But y'all found like this nice relationship that has been formed for well over a year that kind of worked in church. So I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit. Like, did you think you would ever find something like that in a church?
I honestly didn't know where it was going to come from. To be perfectly
Hmm.
honest, I just was asking, like, wherever you're going to give it to me. Because, I mean, outside of my husband and my kids, it's not like I really went anywhere besides church. So I guess it worked out organically and perfectly that way.
Hmm.
So I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna do a little plug here. But I feel like C3 is legit the place to be, and it's a different type of environment for a church. So it's not like your typical church, I would think, where you really have, well, from my vantage point, like clusters of people. I feel like it is a loving church where if you get to know people, you can be included if you put yourself out there. Now, if you're just sitting in a chair waiting for somebody to come up to you, you're probably going to stay in that chair alone. But if you at least try to get to know people or try to come to events, like Leia hadn't been coming to a whole bunch of events, but then she said, "Let me go to this Women of Worth Heart Breakfast." And same thing with CJ, Cynthia. And when you come and put yourself out there, little did you know that that's where you were going to find your core friends for the next however many years. And so I think that it can be in a church, but it can be wherever you like open your heart and open your mind to receive it from. But if you're looking for friends, if you're looking for a cool place to be, come on out to C3, because C3 and other places and people, I want to say that they emerge and change all the time. So don't like typecast a person or typecast an organization because of who they used to be, because they changed too.
Yeah, I think that's sound wisdom. And also, even about like the fellowship piece, I would say like Cynthia, you have been coming to C3 for years, right? But like I didn't even really get to talking to you till like, I don't know, what, 2, 3 years ago? Like I remember on Instagram, you send me a couple direct messages here and there and be like, "Oh, I liked your outfit. You look nice today in church, blah, blah, blah." But once you started coming like to events, because at first I was like, "Who is Vanessa J2? Like, what? I don't know this
Don't
person,
try to
but she
play
cool
me,
though."
Pastor
I'm just
Leslie.
like,
See, you trying to play me and put me out there like that. But no, I just like how
but now
Nicole was
look,
saying,
Follow
yeah,
her
I was
Instagram.
very, very reserved.
yeah.
So I've been, I want to say, really, C3. is really the only church I went to since I've been living in Virginia, and I've been here now since 2009. Um, First time I came, I was looking at the school. I was actually going to enroll my son in school. He was what, four or five then. So that's kind of what brought me out. And they were having something, and Nicole was there, Bishop was there. I actually talked to her. And so I just kept coming, and I told my husband, he was like, we don't, we should look at other places. And I was like, no, this is where I want to go. And so it's really the
That's
only
funny.
place I've ever been. But like you said, I'll come in to that 8 o'clock service, sit there, sing my couple of songs, clap my hands, write my little stuff down, and I'm out. That's it.
Yeah.
So we got to a point where,
That's
I
it.
like you said, I would speak to you, speak to Nicole, keep it pushing. And then I just slowly started coming to like life groups and finance class and stuff like that. And just from there, and then I joined the choir. And so just from there, it just kind of took off. So
would you
and I
say
would
you joined the choir after being a part of this group, or if you were never part of this group, would you have joined the choir?
I was already in the choir before we made the group. Wasn't I,
good.
y'all? I think so.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
was
I don't
already in the
remember.
choir. Because I didn't know Kashama yet, and I went through life class, and Sierra came in there, and I was like, "Why does she talk like that? Her voice little. She was trying to be cute or whatever in there." And so
She just thought I was
this is
cute.
what we want to hear.
She thought I was
yeah.
cute.
And so I, went through all of that, joined the choir. I had asked Kashama to give me my notes. She wouldn't give me my notes, so I didn't know how I was gonna feel about her. Yeah. And then we just kind of went on from there. But even being in this group, I would say it also helps hold me accountable. As far as like when we have church events or going to church on Sunday, because it's like I'm not only going, I'm gonna get the word, but I'm gonna get that fellowship, and I'm gonna get to see my girls. So it's like that extra level of accountability. If I can talk.
They made me join.
You wanted to.
Join what?
You wanted to be a part.
I didn't though. I didn't.
Well,
but I'm glad that I did.
Drop out then. No, just playing.
I'm glad that I did. It took a lot of pushing. It took a lot of pushing.
Well, I don't believe that, because it has been taking a lot of pushing to get you an iPhone, and you have not gotten one. So you need to come up with another sentence.
Right.
You better say that, Pastor Leslie.
Thank you.
I don't see the green dot.
Whatever. So all of that ended up from saying, who's the most honest? I have to ask, who is the most annoying person in the group?
It depends on what level of annoyance are you speaking upon, because there's different levels of annoyance.
I think we all might do
I was gonna
certain
say
things,
everybody
or
annoys me in a different way.
Yeah.
Or have certain, aspects of their personality where you be
In
like,
a different way.
I don't like that too much. I'd rather her not do that again. But
I definitely know they get tired of hearing me say I'm scared.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you for being honest.
Yes.
I just want you to be confident in yourself. I want you to be confident in yourself.
I'm working on it.
You're strong. All of us are strong. So we're not going to let you sit there and feel raggedy about yourself and not, just not be confident and just do it, So I think, but at least you recognize it. That's the first step.
I'm very
I want to go
self-aware.
to our viewers. I want to go to our viewers for a little bit. Are there? Let's take some Q&A. It sounds like y'all are pretty quick on your feet. Those who are watching us, as I'm asking some questions, you can ask questions too. I'm going to go ahead and say that we're going to take the limits off tonight. So maybe there's something that y'all want to know. There's a hot topic you want to talk about. Whoever's viewing us, maybe you have a specific question for the posse tonight. Just go ahead and put that up there, because that is the purpose of Ladies Night, is so that we can engage with those of you who are watching. This is just like good ongoing dialogue and conversation, but we want to engage y'all as well. So if you think of anything, we're going to take some questions tonight. Y'all good with that?
Yep. Hi, ladies. Thank you for joining us.
Yep.
Oh, Lord.
Bring it on.
I'm sweating.
So while they're thinking of their questions, let's talk about, like, who is the late one? I mean, just can't be on time for nothing ever.
That's usually Sierra and Kashama. They come as a package.
Sierra.
And
Why?
you be waiting for her,
when
Shama.
she's by herself, it's always Sierra.
I got 3 kids.
Yeah, it's
When I'm
me.
by myself,
But you didn't
They say you
always
have
have
three, you're
3 kids.
still
You had
late.
two. You had two.
1.5
Mhm.
when we
And one
met.
of them old, right?
So you always been late. Well, who's the
Or we
early
don't
one?
know
Do
if
she
she's
know
gonna
every
come. We might
time?
not know.
That's why she indecisive, right?
Yeah, we won't know.
Cynthia
you
is
said
the
who's
early
on
one.
time?
She will always show up
Yeah.
super early.
Leah.
Hmm?
What happened?
Yeah, Leia's on time all the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would say she's on time, but Cynthia's super early and she's gonna get there and help you set up.
That's true. Hey, I got a question here.
How do you all handle
How do you
conflict?
all handle conflict in the group? Do you handle it as a group or one on one? That's a good question, Tosh. Let's talk about that.
I think it's probably a little bit of both.
I
Because like
think,
Mhm.
in the situation that I
yeah.
talked about in the
That's what I
beginning,
was gonna say.
because Nicole brought it to me, we handled, whatever our little, was for that day. And then I also reached out to Leia because
Hmm.
I wanted to make sure, because even though I didn't feel that way, since others or Nicole saw it a certain way, I wanted to address it and make sure that she knew that, that was not my intention. That was not my heart. So I did reach
Hmm.
out to her and handle that. So I think it has to be, it's a little bit of both.
Anybody else want to
Shama.
speak to that?
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's a little bit of both. Go
I
ahead,
would say
Shama.
that's when I think some of us are like you always have, even though it's a group of us, there are like different friendships within the circle. So I think like when that conflict does occur, that
Don't tell
person
our
that knows
business,
that
Shama.
person a little bit more deeper knows how to have how to
Put it
answer
on
that
out,
question
Shama. Tell
to.
it.
No, I'm just saying.
It's true.
What
like
Nicole say?
like for an example, like Sierra and I were friends before I became friends with Cynthia, Leia, and Nicole. So I know how to address Sierra versus Cynthia, who's still learning Sierra. So I know how to say, well, hey, Cynthia, that maybe not be a good way to approach Sierra, or vice versa. So
Hmm.
I think it's good to have a close relationship within each other, but also there's that individual personalities that are the same, that you know how to, help one another be able to guide through how to handle a conflict.
Yeah, so I was actually going to ask that in relation to this question. Are there any friendships within the friendships? Like, you have your groups and it's one, two, three, four, five of you. Are there like two people who are closer? Like you would say, oh, this person are close, this person are close. Or is it really everybody's kind of friends and groups? Or is it friendships within friendships?
Both.
And does that produce conflict ever?
Well,
Mm.
I was friends with Shama for a while, maybe about four
Okay,
years
Sierra.
before I met Cynthia and Leah. I knew Nicole. I always know Nicole. That's my cousin. But
Now y'all cousins today. Good night.
God bless you and your
see, look,
block.
she had
Be
to take
blessed.
out the timeout.
Be blessed.
See,
Be blessed and
but
block.
Be blocked. Be blocked. Like,
Cynthia's so rude.
tell her to be blocked. Tell her to be blocked. I just
Okay,
want
I'm
to answer
ready.
that
I'm
Go
one
ahead.
nice.
as Leia finishes. Okay.
Go ahead, Sierra.
Leia, oh, go
I
ahead,
forgot what I
see.
was saying now. But I was
Okay,
friends with
go.
Shama first. So yeah, so
So,
Shama would text me separately when she can feel that I'm not, you know, in the
Oh,
right mindset. Cynthia, you text me separately too.
what I say? Hey, girl, you all right?
You okay, C?
so here's a deeper question. If one of you, so let's say that you and Kashama are friends already. If one of you started getting closer with another one of the girls in the group, would you feel some kind of way, or would you just be like, well, whatever, it's in the group? And don't come on, let's be
No,
honest.
but Cynthia would.
Oh,
Oh my God, Leia, you say yes to that?
I wouldn't be mad.
I am a little
Cause
bit
Shama got a
territorial.
whole
I
bunch of
am.
friends.
you're territorial in the group. You feel some kind of way,
Shama does
like
have
you
a bunch
feel
of
like your
friends.
allegiances are threatened.
I don't know if I. I don't
Not
know if I would.
amongst us, but if anybody tries to infiltrate, she's like, no, ma'am.
Oh yeah, I'd be like, who
Have a
was that?
seat.
I'm
Sit
like,
down.
girl, who was that sitting up there beside you? Mm,
Who'd you go to the movies with? Why you ain't call us?
right.
Mm.
That is
You didn't
sad.
ask us if we wanted to
But
go to the
Leslie's
movies.
asking a different question. But Leslie's asking a different question. If someone in the group, within the group, got closer,
Right.
so like for instance, if Leia and Kashama got closer, would you like take offense to that?
No, that's why I said
No.
no. I don't think so. Oh, you asking Sierra?
Nah.
No, both of y'all. Yeah.
No.
That's a no. Oh, okay.
It's a no for me,
What?
dog.
Well, here's a lighter question before we go to another deeper question. What do y'all do for fun? I mean, I know y'all argue. I know you disagree. I know you are mean and everything else. But
we don't really
I'm just
argue
playing.
though.
Well, that's good.
No,
What do y'all do for fun?
I
Like
don't
somebody else
start
asked a
fights. I just
question.
say what I gotta say. I don't start fights.
Have you
Getting
planned
out.
any like girls trips, or I mean, were you planning one and then of course Corona happened? Like, what do y'all do to really kind of forge your friendship
Yep.
outside of text threads?
Well, I'll say
Meet
that
once a month.
we were trying to get together once a month. Yeah. And so we have been to places like the Plant Bar and we made terrariums and we'll go out, for a happy hour or go out to eat or we'll have little sleepovers or movie nights. We'll go to a movie and
Winery.
we just try to have some time where we get together. Yeah, wineries. Well, how could I forget that? That's my favorite. So we'll go to a winery and but then we were even planning trips before Corona. We were planning to have take a trip either sometime. We were talking about whether in state or not in
Yep.
state, out of state, within the contiguous states, or to go to another country. So yes, we are trying to plan a trip, but Corona kind of blocked it.
Right, maybe 2022. Well,
Right.
Hmm.
here's a deep question.
After a vaccination.
So I'm gonna say y'all can answer one at a time. Obviously, I'm a pastor. This is C3's page,
Okay.
so I want to bring church into the equation. And here's my question: can you truly be you? You have to speak for yourself. I don't want y'all speaking for other people. Speak for you. Can you be your authentic self at church? If so, why? And if not, what part of yourself do you turn off when you enter church? I heard y'all talk about like winery and stuff like that. So, like, when you approach church, do you feel like you can be your authentic self, or are there some parts you're like, I'm gonna leave that one at home. I'll catch you, when y'all say amen.
Well, I feel I can be
Y'all
my
want me to
true
go first?
authentic self when I come to church. What you say?
Do you feel like you leave any part though of yourself, like in the parking lot?
Oh, Deja,
No.
turn your phone off.
Ooh, Shyamalan.
Kashama?
Maybe
Oh, there you go.
some of the music I listen to, I leave that outside.
That's what I was gonna say
But
too.
other than that, I'm my true self when I'm at church,
Cool.
and versus when I'm at home or outside of church.
So yours is basically music. Cynthia, sounds like yours is the same thing. You don't think you can bring taking over for the 99s and 2000s in the church?
Maybe a little bit. I do enjoy a little bit of hip hop.
Okay.
I may curse a little every now and then. So I like to leave that in the parking lot or at my home. I don't
So I
like to
guess the
bring that with
question for
me.
you too would be like, I don't want to say because you cuss a little bit, like you not cussing at church is being inauthentic. Like, would you say you not bringing that part of yourself to church is more out of like a respect thing and not a matter of
Yes,
inauthenticity? You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? Yeah.
Okay, so I guess to address your question then, no, I feel like I can't be my authentic self at church and at C3. I do. I don't feel like I have to change and, be someone else and put myself in this little box or whatever so that I can fit in at church. I feel like I can be my authentic self and present my authentic self at church. But definitely respect things. That's
Oh
how
yes,
I was
mommy.
raised.
Yes, Dr.
Hi.
Nat.
Mommy said she cursed too.
What
Yeah.
y'all watch this. Watch this. Dr. Nat. Peter cursed. Too. Peter wrote a book of the Bible. So does that mean that I get to cuss as well?
No,
No,
I'm
ma'am.
ma'am.
just saying.
No, ma'am.
Don't play with Pastor Nat.
That's like my
Pastor
mother.
Leslie.
I've never
Dr.
heard
Nat
my
did not
mother
say that.
curse. or smoke
Yeah.
or drink wine or
Me neither.
anything. So that's,
Mm-mm.
kind of like my upbringing. And so I try to maintain, that respect.
Well, why do y'all think, if
Mhm.
anybody else wants to answer, you can jump in, but why do you think that there's this stereotype or stigma that people have to change, when they come to church? Like, where do you think that stemmed from? And how can we go about changing that so that people can feel welcome?
I think it's definitely a old school thing. It goes back to more so religion than relationship, because it wasn't until I was older where it was more so like you bring your whole self to church and you let God change you. You can't try to
Mm,
change yourself because that'll
that's
never
good.
happen. So you need to bring your complete self to God, and the parts that don't fit, the parts that are not supposed to be there, He's gonna change that. That's not for you to do. So but definitely I think it's more of a religion thing than a relationship, which is what is most important. Your personal relationship with God, because God sees and knows your heart.
Yeah. I think that is so fitting. And like you said, people are on a journey when they come, and it's our responsibility to, you know, be like Christ, show the ways of Christ, and allow the Holy Spirit to do the changing, right? Because when you try to force somebody to do something, like
Mhm.
you're imposing your personal beliefs or lack thereof on other people. So I think we definitely need to let God do the changing. But with the things that y'all are saying too, I'm just so glad that y'all are involved in church, because I think it's people who have outlooks and perspectives like you all do who actually need to be, in leadership and volunteer capacity, so other people can see, oh, like that's a real authentic person. They listen to music like I listen to, like they're real. I can get down with that. So with that being said, Nicole, I don't know, or Leah, did y'all want to speak to that at all?
Go ahead, Nicole.
Leia, you want me to go? Okay. I feel like I could be my authentic self. I was kind of born and raised there. So I've always been the only me I know how to be. But I do feel like because I was born and raised in a church and now I serve in leadership at the church as executive director, I do have to wear a different hat when I'm there. So
Yeah.
I do feel like my mindset is more business and making sure everything is, functioning the way it's supposed to be, and troubleshooting and problem solving and being, welcoming. And I feel like I can be myself, but I do feel like I can kind of woo-saw sometimes, when I walk out of the doors, but I don't feel like I change into anyone else.
Hmm.
And as far as church, the stigma of church, I think that's all because of people being judgmental and trying to live up to somebody else's expectations instead of just trying to live up to what God's expectation for you is. And I feel like we get so caught up in trying to live our parents' faith walk, and we saw that they had to act a certain way in church, or our grandparents, and then they'll be different when they be at home, but not realizing, like Cynthia said, this about you developing your own personal relationship. And God loves you because He dwells within you, and we're created in His image and likeness. So everything about you should reflect the character of God, and things that don't, those are things that God is working with you on. So I think as long as you are true to yourself, but a lot of people get caught up in that because they don't know who they are. So how can
Hmm.
you come to church and be yourself if you don't know who you are? So I think you have to do that work first, and then you can be your authentic self in church or wherever else you
Yeah.
go. So
And I think too, it's important to define that word authenticity, because authenticity means different things for different people, right? So if Sierra is the sensitive one of the group, but all of a sudden she try to act like blunt and tough and whatever, like Leia does, then she's not being authentic to herself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for
hmm
authenticity, you kind of have to define, well, who is it that I am and what I bring to the table. Like, for what was I going to say? For Cynthia, for instance, if you listen to certain music, or like you cuss a little or whatever it is that you do, but you try to like act like me, or you try to act like Kasham or anybody else, you're not being authentic to yourself. So I think too in church, people have to figure out like becoming secure in your own personal identity and not trying to take on the identity of somebody else, unless that is Christ, because Christ truly knows our identity and can really be the one who transforms us. But Leah, did I leave you out? Kashama, did I leave you out? Y'all can talk too.
I feel like I can be more of myself at church than I can as
Yeah,
opposed to
Nicole pretty
like
much covered what
at
I was
work or
saying.
like out in public, because I feel like, I don't know, I guess I just feel more comfortable when I'm at church, where like I don't have any inhibitions, or I don't have to try to put on any airs. I can take off all the hats that I have to wear in other places, that I can just be free to be myself and just leave myself there with God to worship, because that's what I come there to do. I don't need to have on all the other hats that I need to wear. I just come there to feel his presence, and then I put all the other hats back on when I get outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kashama, you got something to add? If not, no worries. Well, we got another question.
No.
Okay. Well, I have a question
Shama,
in
yes, you
relation.
do.
She does?
You don't
can
have
tell
nothing,
her.
Shama.
That's on y'all.
Okay.
What? What I
Can
need
you
to
be your
add?
authentic self?
Cynthia.
I'm very authentic.
Kashama is.
I'm very
She,
authentic. I think I stay true to. I think I stay true to who I am. Like, if I don't like something, I'm gonna tell you. If I agree, I agree, and if I don't, I'll tell you. I think I'm pretty much fluent on how I
and
respond
if you
to pretty
don't
much
tell us,
everybody
you're
in
the
the
type
group.
of person that'll show
I'm
us.
very.
Like, if you
Oh
don't
yeah,
like
my
someone or
facial expressions
something,
tell it
like,
all.
you'd be like,
Yes, faces.
That's me too.
I think that's
Some
all
of
of
us
us. Our face say
Yeah,
it before our mouth.
my
Except for
face does
Nicole. She
a
the only
lot.
one that can keep the
Small
smile on her
talk.
face.
she's doing
That
it
is true.
now.
She's like, no, don't know. That's not it.
get yourself together.
So, since y'all are, y'all not taking applications, I'm guessing, to join the Flossy Posse, but do you see yourselves mentoring like younger women at C3 or younger girls, since the older ones aren't allowed to join the group?
That's one of Sierra's goals. She wants to mentor
Older
young
people
women.
can still hang out. I mean, or do. Or, you're right, mommy. I get it from my mama. That's right, mama. But I was gonna say some people already do that. Like Cynthia, if she sees someone hanging,
That's
looking
true.
like they need a friend, she's reached out to people and hung out with them, or wanted to make sure they felt included at C3.
Hmm.
And I think other people have done that. And I think that's a part of who we are. So yeah, I don't think applications are necessary. But I mean, everybody, come talk, come by.
I think the main thing is
Look at
come hang
Cynthia.
out. But okay, so what's beneficial about
Oh, I
being a
can't hear.
part of a group of friends versus just having one friend? What's the difference?
When you with a
I
group
was,
of people, it's different. Because, like, if I call Cynthia and be like, hey, girl, let's have a cup of coffee, go out for coffee, and she can't go, then I can call the next person and be like, well, Cynthia couldn't make it today. Did you want to grab something? So I think you always have a sisterhood.
Where?
So
That's
if
true.
that versus one person, you're not really like basically, wearing that person out. So you kind of have four other people you can ask.
Hmm.
Hmm. This is,
Or
yeah.
or if they get on your
Shatisha
nerves,
says
you got somebody else.
that's true. Mentorship is huge, but here's another. This is a great one, and I resonate with this. April Elliott says, "For myself, I try to be my authentic self all the time, but I guard my heart so strongly, so it's hard to start new relationships." I'm willing to bet that one of you can identify very strongly with this statement. And how would you? How? Yeah. What would? How would you speak to that? How would you speak to that, Leah?
um, I guess that's part of my pineapple dynamic. It's very hard because of things that I've been through in the past, and because of my difficulty with relationships with women just in general.
Girl, you
It's
got some
very
headphones.
hard for
Oh
me to
wait.
let you in. You have
Mm-hmm.
to, it's like Kashama said, you got to bring your chisel. You have to, it's hard to get me to let you in, but once I do, I'm an open book. But you just got to get there first. It takes a while. But then when you
Okay.
got four people chiseling at the same time, I guess it's a little easier for them, not for everybody else. It's still some spikes on this pineapple, but I'll let them in though.
Cool.
I think we all have
Anybody
a
else
little
got
bit of
something to
that
add?
though. I
Yeah.
honestly, because same thing. Like I was saying, I would be that person that would be like, you know what, I'm good. I've lived a few different places because of my husband being in the military. And
Mhm.
so I would meet people and they'd be like, yeah, let's stay in touch. I'm gonna give you my number. And I'm like, that's okay, because I'm not gonna call you. Just and that's it, it is what it
That's
is.
real. That's
Yeah.
real.
And I would, like she was saying, I would have this harder exterior when on the inside I care about people and I want to be seen too. I want to be, a part of a group. Maybe not all the time. I say I like
Mhm.
friendship on my terms. So if you're like really needy, you really needy and you want to talk to me all the time and no, I don't like that. It's not gonna work out.
Yeah.
But I think we all have a little bit of that where because you don't want to get hurt. You want to be open to a certain extent, but you don't want to give too much. So I feel like everybody
No,
has
that's real.
a little of that.
Like I,
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I've been burned um in friendships too. And I think it's important to realize too that we're the hero in somebody's story, but we're also the villain in somebody's story too, right? So just like we've been burned by other people, I'm sure that people have stories about us that we burned them. But in this particular instance, like I have been burned pretty badly in a friendship before that I started having to have my friendship come with a disclaimer, like, hey, um, I love you, but I'm not the type of person to talk every day. Like, don't call me on the phone unless you really need something. If you need something, I'm probably not going to pick up, but leave a voicemail. I'll try my best to get back to you. If it can be texted, please text it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I just started to learn how to tell people these things up front to communicate expectations that if I don't call you, 3 times a week, I promise you it's all love. I still love you. It's just that's really not who I am. But on the same
Right.
token, it's also if I have a friend who's like, well, I need you to call me, you know, every day. I'm like, okay, well, can I call you once every 2 weeks? So you still have to have that part of you where you do compromise a little bit. Maybe not as much as you do in a marriage, but in your particular friendships, are there any areas where y'all have felt like you've had to compromise a little bit to make this friendship work?
Yes.
And what are those compromises?
Showing up is a big compromise.
I'm a little
But
virtue member.
I'm not a big talker. I don't
That's a compromise.
Guess so.
for me. Um
That's great.
so we had a Facebook group chat and I missed the first one. But I came in on the second one, I compromised and I had a good time. But I'm not a really I don't I'm not a
You
big
keep to yourself, like you're
e-
fine
e-
being by yourself.
I am sometimes I don't yeah. Cause they so
I would like
strong.
to.
They so strong
Oh,
willed.
You need yeah, it could be overwhelming, huh? You
It
just be
can be
like, y'all can
overwhelming.
have it.
Yes.
I would speak to the comment that I think it was April that posted it when she was saying that she guards her heart. And so I think if you really do want real friendships and relationships, that's when you have to kind of decide, am I willing to put myself out there and open myself up to receive that? Or, is it too much? So I'm at a point where I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna leave that alone. Because you have to, if you really want real relationships, real friendships, you have to, make a decision. Am I gonna open myself up and kind of step out on faith and, just kind of see how that goes?
That's good, Cynthia. I have to get to this question because this this is powerful. Pastor, actually, Bishop-elect Gail Roberts House says, I'm curious. Is there ever any apprehension about approaching certain subjects in your group? Because Nicole, the sister of your new senior pastor, is in your group. Nicole, that is an excellent question. I can't
Oh, is
wait
that a
to see
question
how
for
you
me?
answer it.
Oh, for me?
I think it is. I
Oh,
think
I
it's
thought it was for
saying I
everyone
could be
else.
wrong.
Okay.
Well, everybody can answer it, but it sounds like it's saying because I'm the pastor and you're my sister and you're the group, are there some things maybe y'all want to talk about? I don't know. Y'all might want to talk about me. I don't know. But you're just like, we're not gonna do that because that's her sister and she. I don't know.
No,
Answer it how you see fit.
I think we're a very real group, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
we relate on a lot of the same level. I guess when it comes to social, emotional, um,
intellectual like curiosity and questions, and I think we can ask certain things respectfully without feeling like we have crossed the line. And I know that I rightfully divide all the time because I've lived this whole life in church where if my grandparents weren't the pastors and my parents weren't the pastors, now my sister and my brother-in-law are the pastors. So I already knew how to walk that line with integrity. And I don't think we've always lived a very transparent life too as a first family. So I really think for the most part, everything's on the table. And I don't think that anything has ever come up that has caused any apprehension about certain subjects, because we really talk about a lot of things. But I think we know how to take off that hat and say, okay, here is a real friendship where we can confide in one another and it not go beyond this group. But I do think that personally and familially, there are certain things that I don't even approach that I know that stay just within the family. So I will say that as well. I'm not sitting here bringing all my stuff to the group like, y'all, let me tell you today. So I mean, I think we all have that respect within our own families. There's certain family business and family things that we know stay within our families, and then there are certain things that just affect us as an individual that we bring to the group.
Now, what about the rest of the group? I think she was addressing it to y'all, by the way. Like, do y'all feel like, oh, I want to talk about this, but I don't know, this might not go over too well?
I don't think we've ever really had a situation where that's ever occurred. But if it did, I think that's where our friendships within the group would come into play. Like, because like you said before, we're all five of us are friends, but then we all have an individual friendship with each other. So I think if that was the case, then we would just take it to whoever we felt would deal with that scenario like the best. If we didn't feel like it would fit in like a group setting, that's when we would go to our individual friendships.
That's good. Anybody else want to speak to that? And if y'all have more questions like that in the comments, go ahead. I mean, I think we got like about 30 minutes left, unless y'all need to go. But this is Q&A time for y'all. If there's something that you want to know, hey, put it in the comments. We'll talk. And if we don't know, we'll say, hey, I don't know. Maybe we'll get an answer later.
I had a question. Sierra? I had a question sent to me, but I'll address that
I was just gonna say,
first.
It's in regards to the question that she asked. I didn't mean to cut you off, Cynthia. I'm sorry, man. First and foremost, I would say you being the senior pastor make it an open dialect to come talk to you anyway. So I don't think there's nothing that we would talk about in the group that we couldn't come talk to you about personally. So with that being said, I mean, Nicole is very confidential. She'll give you that smile, and then she'll give you that mother talk.
There it goes, right there.
With that being said, you gonna talk to Leslie yourself? Or she'll say, well, maybe you should tell you, maybe you need to, talk to Leslie one-on-one. So, but I think it also starts with the leader. I mean, you yourself as the pastor make it comfortable for your members to come talk to you anyway. So I don't think there's nothing within the group that we will have a conversation about that we couldn't come and talk to you about.
That's cool.
One-on-one.
That's why
in my opinion.
I got the shirt.
Flossy pastor.
That's how you flossy pastor.
I think probably the extent of it may have been like on a Sunday, we might be like, oh, she preached today. Oh, my favorite part was when she said blah, blah, blah. But that would be pretty much it.
I have to ask this question. Was there with even the transition, like, did y'all ever think, man, like, she's young, or was there any like adaptability to getting used to the whole transition with me becoming pastor? Or was it like, okay, we'll roll with it? Like, was the transition plan helpful? Because, it's like 5 to 7 years where you could kind of see the transition happening. Or were you like, oh, I don't know. How do y'all think that went? I'm curious.
I think I'm still getting used to it.
I was always your ride or die anyway. I was your adjutant for
you just gonna keep on
that is so true. Since like 2012, me and Kashama roll deep, okay? We had to stop like night shirts and everything.
Cynthia, you were saying?
I'm sorry, you make
was I saying? I know you rude. You got your little sound and you rude. Okay. So I feel like I'm still probably adjusting to everything with the transitions. I I knew that it was coming. I feel like y'all prepared us, for that, and I knew that it was coming. But I do feel like I'm still kind of getting used to the transitions, and especially then with COVID-19 hitting, it's like
Yeah.
everything I feel, is so different. But regardless of whatever, just like Kashama said, I was proud of you, so I knew that no matter what, I'm not going anywhere. So I'm rolling with you. And if anything, I felt maybe a sense of like wanting to protect you and shield you from people that may not be on board. So just kind of, like I won't say worrying about that, but being concerned about that and wanting to protect you from that part of it.
That's true, because I
But
remember
I'm
you
here.
came to a life group and you and I
Mhm.
had a conversation and you were like, I ain't telling you who nobody is, but people, whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And you're like, well, you're young, X, Y, and Z. And I remember telling you, I said, well, I just think it's interesting because the very person that we put our whole life in died at the age of 33.
33.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Right.
was only in ministry full time for 3 years. So when people say I can't be under someone who is young, I'm like, the person you say come save me and fill me and help me to walk this life out, like didn't start ministry full time till 30 and died to 33, and you're like, I never thought of it that way. And so we have had those conversations, but I would say, like, even though I'm not technically in the group, I would honestly say that y'all have been protective in a sense, and so I'm grateful to even have a cloud of witnesses who, if there were ever to be any sort of negativity or whatever, like y'all really kind of shield me from that, and you kind of stop it in the tracks, and you're like, stop right there. You can say what you want, but that ain't getting to her. And so I'm grateful for that. I think that that's real. All right. Anybody else? I forgot what question I asked before that, but if y'all have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. But here's the other one. You might have answered it earlier, but do you all give yourselves permission to check one another?
I don't think we ever asked.
Mm.
I think it was
That's
asked
true.
in the beginning.
Well, you can see Cynthia checks us all the time.
I do see that. I feel like people in the
Yeah.
comments are getting to know y'all right now too. They just like, oh,
I feel like we
I
check
even
each
wonder.
other. And
Hmm.
even me, because normally I'm the one checking everybody else, but I feel like they'll even check me when they're like, you're doing too much. That's how I got the name take over, because they'll tell me, okay, you trying to take over, you
Time
need
to
to
sit
sit down,
down.
let us plan something, let us do something, and you just sit and be, because I don't know how to do that. So
Hmm.
You know.
everybody gets checked.
That's
Look at
funny. And I think
Cynthia.
y'all answered the question earlier too. Like, have there been moments of vulnerability? And are there any of y'all who you hate being vulnerable? Like, that's a real struggle for you because you're so strong all the time that if it were to come out, you're like, oh. Like, are you the type of person where if a tear shed, you try to suck it back up? Like, you better not drop that tear, better not fall. Oh, is that a
Oh,
bug?
Lauren,
No.
that's a good question. Okay.
Oh,
Come
I tell
on.
them all the time. I've cried more with them in the last year and a half than I probably have in the last 20 years, and I'm sick of it.
mm.
Stop making me cry all the time. I hate it. I hate it.
Crying
They're like,
snotted on one of my jackets at church once
I
today.
did, I did, and
Really?
I
Did you give her
And
the
I'm
apologize
not a
church-leading
touchy
skills?
profusely.
I would
person.
have.
I don't
I
really like to touch
apologize
and
profusely
hug and
for
stuff.
that. I
Crying is
don't.
therapy.
It's
It's therapy for the soul. It's okay.
mm, mm. I hate it.
I This is a good question from Lauren. Lauren says, let's talk about sexism. That's actually another interview that I can't wait to do. But she said, okay, maybe not. That's too much. That's like one of my areas. I love talking about it. But she says, this is deep. Do you check your husbands as much as you check your friends? Lauren, that's
More,
a bold question.
more.
Absolutely.
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 Yes, honey.
Yes. Yes.
He catches it
Can they?
first.
Sure do.
Here's a
Well,
harder question. Can you be checked by your husband?
He tried to.
It
He
depends on what it
tries.
Y'all
is.
see that?
Depends on what it
I
is.
will say
Oh
that
my
He
God.
tries.
Phil and I are both very strong-headed and strong-willed, but
Yeah.
I can be checked by him because he can approach me and be like, "Do you really think you know the answer to everything? Or have you ever been told you don't know in your life? Because there's some things you don't know, but you
Mm.
act like you know," and that checks me. So I can say that he checks me, but I also check him right back, and I be like, hold on, let's run that back. Can we please be a first partaker of our wisdom? Thank you. So,
Out of order.
But
submit.
it really,
Right.
but I see Latasha Edwards says now that's not as easy. But it
Yeah,
depends on the husband you marry, and that's why you got to be careful when you're dating people and when you're choosing who's going to be your spouse. Make sure you have a authentic relationship, and what that means for you is probably different than what it means for me. So I know that my husband and I are very raw with each other as far as the way we talk to each other, but every marriage can't handle that. I remember one
Right.
time I think we got in a little disagreement, and Leslie Campbell like, "Oh my God, are they
I
gonna get
know.
a divorce?" And I'm like, "No, this is how we talk.
Ooh.
It's not."
I
But
know. We were riding back from Virginia Beach, and me and Kayla was like,
but that's how me and Phil are. We're just really raw. And then afterwards, we're like, "All right, you want to go get something to drink? I mean, what
"You
you
want to
want to
get a
go do?
burger?"
Yeah, let's go."
Well,
But then we move past it. But we know how to, I guess, soothe wounds, address things, and move on instead of holding on to things forever and then hating you and letting it build, build, build. We just let it out.
Mm-hmm.
but Tasha might have been saying now that's not as easy for the can the man check the woman? I don't know if she was saying it the other way around,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
but she might. I don't know.
But either way,
Um,
it depends.
yeah. So what about with relationships and disclaimer, because when this is the part that I don't like, sometimes I feel like when you try to address sexism, people will try to put you in a box as if you don't like men. I love the men of God, so I don't ever want that, going out there that because you're pro women in leadership means you're anti-man or you're anti-male. I don't think that we are that at all. But when it comes to men or to your husbands, have they been accepting of y'all being a group?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
For the most part.
I think my husband TJ. I think he likes it when I go out with the girls, because I'm very tense person all the time, and it's hard for me just to be relaxed. And usually when I hang out with the girls and kind of laugh a little bit and kind of like know, hey, we ain't the only people going through some things. It makes me be more relaxed once I get home. So I think he enjoys the girl night out when I go. It's like good. Maybe when she come back, she'll be better. So I think it's good. It's therapeutic to kind of separate from your spouse, kind of regroup, and not think that you're the only married couple that had a disagreement on who put the toilet paper either under or over. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Ooh.
So I think it's very therapeutic, and I think it also helps each other's marriages to know that you're not by yourself, and you can kind of bounce, what's going on with your friends, and they're like, "Girl, you're wrong." Because Nicole and Cynthia really good for like, "Girl, that's your husband." They're really good for telling me that.
Mhm.
Yeah, they had
I
to tell
think
me
we
that
have
too.
to.
Because I'm the one. I'm like Leia. I don't like to be vulnerable. I don't like to feel mushy, and I ain't that girl. So within the group, I can say that I'm learning to be a little bit more vulnerable
I have a
and mushy.
question. I think we need to talk about this, and maybe this is reverse sexism or what. I don't know. Why is it that women can forgive a man that done dogged her out and did her dirty so many times over, but when a girlfriend and another one of her sister friends have a disagreement, y'all want to part ways and don't talk no more? Why is
Oh,
that? I mean, that's like a thing where men be like, just
uh-uh.
you forgive them. Oh, that's just okay. We'll make up. Blah blah blah. And something happened with a female relationship one time, and you done. Why do y'all think
N-
that is? It
not
doesn't have to
me.
be y'all's group per se, but I'm just
Me
saying
either.
like
That ain't me.
we're switching we're switching to a cultural conversation, like not
Right.
necessarily flossy posse, but why are women so forgiving of men but not forgiving of other women? Why do you think that
I think
is?
that's a
Hate,
self-esteem thing.
jealousy.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay, Sierra.
I think it
Go
has to
ahead.
it has to do with all of the above.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Insecurities in particular. If you're insecure in yourself, sometimes you look for security in another man, whether they're treating you rightly or wrongfully. But yet, if a
Hmm.
girl does that, you can just cut her on off because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe you feel like you have a whole lot of access to other girls, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
you have grace for men but not for women, and that's you being sexist. So you need to check that.
Right. Anybody else? That's a question too. Can women be sexist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody can be.
Hmm.
But
Y'all,
I feel
y'all
like
got these one
that's
word
a
answers,
self-esteem
yes
thing.
and no.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
it
I
I think
can't
is.
it's a
answer that
self
when Jesus is still working
it's
with
a
me on my
self-esteem
grace because
thing.
I cut off anybody.
Men and women. Oh gosh.
I'm
Right.
working on.
What is
I'm
your
working on
hashtag
it.
again? What is your hashtag?
Pineapple.
Oh, pineapple. That's
Pineapple.
right.
Pineapple.
That's right.
Mm, mm,
I'm
mm.
working on it. Cause
Yeah.
Shama's pushing me.
I
But
have a question that somebody
Shama
sent me.
forgives. Go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
It's how do you decide who to be vulnerable with? And are you worried about the things you tell others?
Hmm.
That's
Are
a
you
good
gonna
question.
answer it?
Y'all can answer it.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
I mean,
I
for me, I think it. Oh, go ahead.
you can go.
Who was talking?
I think it was
For
me, but you can
me,
go ahead.
oh, okay. Well, for me, I would say it kind of like how they were saying, talking about our friendships within friendships. So you might not put everything out in the whole group initially. Some things will go to the whole group, and then some things will be with, whoever you feel that connection with in that certain situation or whatever. So it might be something that I might talk to Nicole about or Kashama about or whatever, that I might not initially go to Leia and Sierra about, or whatever. So I think it just kind of depends on who you feel that connection with, who you're comfortable with as far as that situation.
Yeah.
And I think it's about building trust. So it's about you understanding yourself enough to know when you trust someone else, and like when you're trusting them more and more to give them certain pieces of information about yourself, and knowing they're not going to go spill it out on the internet or tell
Right.
everybody they know.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to learn for yourself who is a trustworthy person and make sure that they vibe with you like that. And then check yourself too. Be like, am I spilling everything to them and they're not telling me anything? Because that could be a one
Right,
kind of
right, right, right.
marker that'll let you know maybe this friendship is something to you that it's not to them.
And
Right.
every
That's
friendship
true.
doesn't. Every friendship isn't all encompassing. Like there are certain people that you talk to about shopping or fashion, or there might be some person that you talk to about your most vulnerable things, or there might be someone that you can talk to about something just in general, but don't have to spill all of your beans, but they can just give you general advice. Everybody doesn't fit each pocket, so you have to know which person you can go to about whatever scenario that is, because you can't just go to everyone about everything.
Yeah.
That's such a good point, Leia, because I used to think that one friend had to solve all of your needs and solve all of, just like you think one spouse, not saying you have to have multiple spouses, but even
Thank
your
you for
like
the clarification.
right, you have to be complete in yourself and realize that God has placed other people in your circle of influence if you'll give them a chance, and you need to see what part of your life they're supposed to help fulfill, and you can share with them, like Leia said, things about that particular part of your life, but they may not need to know other parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
That's
good.
true. And I don't think friendships within friendships is like bad, you know. You go to who it is, you can resonate with the most or who has the most experience in that level. I heard a quote one time that said, trust is received in buckets, but once it's lost, it's gained in droplets.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Do
I like
y'all
that.
find that to be true?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if somebody breaches trust, like in the friendship? So yeah, that's a scenario. Obviously, this hasn't happened in y'all's friendship, but if one person were to have like a bitter moment with somebody else, like how would you go about conflict resolution? Do you think it could still be a group, or like would it be like, we need some space, and would everybody go their individual ways, or do you think you would do something to work it out, or does it depend on the issue? Like how does Flossy Posse go about doing conflict resolution?
I think we attempt to address it.
Well, we haven't had like a
I was
thought
gonna
I
say
about
we
hope you
haven't
never
really
do,
had.
but
also,
We new friends.
but if we did, I think yeah. But I don't believe in like if you're in a friendship that you just let a friendship go without trying to find some type of resolution.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Anything worth having is worth fighting for. So even if you have a disagreement, because me and Sierra wasn't always like thick as thieves, we had to have tough love
Mm-hmm.
and grow apart, come back together,
Mm-hmm. We
and
did.
now
We
it's a
did.
different experience. Because I'm like that friend that I'm gonna love you to
Harass
the
you.
to the end.
and it
My
yeah, I'm
harass.
gonna have an answer to a degree because I
A
like to
good one.
I
A good one.
do like to have like a conclusion of why we're not. Now, if we're gonna end it, that's
Right.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
But if
Closure. You have
let
to
me
have
know
closure.
why we're gonna close the friendship and move it.
Yeah, right. And I would say I take a different approach because I'm like a kind of a bull type of a friend. I'm going to come to you and try to resolve it immediately because that's how I'm used to working with in most of my relationships. I'm all about conflict resolution. So I'm going to try to be like, what's going on? What did I do? How can we move past it? But if I hit an impasse and you don't really want to move past it, then all I can do is just appreciate where you are. And when you're ready to move past it, know that I'll always be here. And that's kind of how I am as a friend. So I think that's how I would treat it as a group. I'm here for you guys. Even if I have to love you from a distance, I'm always here for you.
By
Thanks,
email though,
Nicole.
don't text me. Just
No, you
kidding.
can text me.
That's me, not you.
Right, that
No.
is you.
I have to ask one more thing. Talk to us about the importance of celebrating one another because there is this um, stereotype where women are haters, they're bitter towards each other, like this crab in a bucket mentality. Like, talk about the importance of just honor and celebration and pushing one another. Like, if somebody's getting ready to start a business or somebody has this hobby or there's been a milestone in your marriage or something like that, what's the importance of celebration?
Go ahead,
I think
Shama.
it's uplifting to a person's spirit and soul. I mean, Sierra's done it to me on numerous occasions. Like we celebrated my 21st birthday, about a few years ago, when I was like in a dark place, not really happy about what things were going in my life at that moment. And I came home and they like had my house filled with balloons and
Wow.
cake and like just, celebrated like, hey, we know that you're in a dark place, but you don't got to stay there. So I think when someone celebrates you in your dark time, it makes you know that, hey, I'm going through this storm, but there is a rainbow at the end. So I think it is very important to uplift one another, especially during their downtime.
Yeah.
And Cynthia's good at doing that too. I think all of us have given spirits. Like when we feel it and we just do it, like even doing the transition of, your grandmother, like we was like, okay, Phil, like what does Nicole need? Because we know how Nicole is.
Mm-hmm.
So, whether Nicole knew it or not, we did kind of like individually like, hey, Phil, like we ain't want to really text Nicole, but same thing, even though you're not necessarily per se flossy posse, but you're still our pastor. We reached out to Caleb as well, like, hey, what do they needs are. So sometimes, you don't necessarily have to be within the friend. That spouse plays a part as well as flossy posse group. But, it's all about celebrating even when it's not during the greatest times of your life,
Yeah.
that person is there and they can pick up on your spirit.
And I think that also speaks to having diversity in your friend groups because obviously you all are not the same, but it's helpful to have different personalities, different expressions. I just think it shows a more complete picture of what a friendship should be. Like there should be unity in your friendships, but you do not all have to like think exactly the same.
Yep.
So
I think
Yeah,
somebody
because
put that up here. Somebody put unity, but not uniformity.
yeah,
And I
'cause
think
there's
it was
even been
April
times when,
or
like, I know
Monica.
myself, like I've woken up in the morning, I'm like, somebody is off.
so
So
you
I'll
feel
send a
each other
text
like in
message and
your
I'll be like,
spirit.
"Are y'all good?" And then somebody be like, "No, I've been crying all day." And I'm like, "I knew
Yeah,
it."
that's real.
Yeah. And I think that's important. I think a sisterhood is important that you celebrate each other because you don't know when someone else is feeling something. So you have to learn how to be comfortable with celebrating other people outside of yourself. We celebrate each other's birthdays. We just have certain days where we just are praying for each other. We have certain times where we're just reaching out saying, look, today is really rough. I need y'all to just check on me later. We have certain times somebody might call us and we feel like screaming and we just scream, or we might have times where somebody will drop by at somebody's home and do a pop-up drive by and say, come on outside.
Right.
I'm on your porch. And I mean, but that's all different ways you can celebrate sisterhood. And I think the most important thing to remember is that you are your sister's keeper. And whether they know they need you or not, it's your responsibility as a friend to be there for them in the good and the bad times.
Yeah, that's good. I just realized I didn't even share this on my own page.
I didn't either.
Tisk tisk. Did y'all
Mom,
share it?
mom has a
Yeah.
question.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dr. Natalie says, how important is it to you to have multi-generational friendships in your life?
It's so important to me. Can I just okay? I think it is. I think it is so important because different women are at different places in their lives, and different generations can complement each other really well at different places in
Yeah.
their lives. So I know for me, I mean, I'm an old soul. Like I've been 50 since I was 18. So
Wow.
I never really wanted to go to the club. I was trying to be up in the jazz lounge, have me a little glass, listen to my upright bass. So for me, I think it's important that you have seasoned women that are helping to pull you ahead, or that you can even help to like just talk to. Maybe they're having an off day, or maybe they need somebody with a little energy to speak life into them because they're so tired from pouring into others. And then it's important also to mentor women that are younger than you. So you need to have intergenerational friendships because it also helps to keep you in check, and it helps to remind you of that balance. Whenever you're feeling a little off or a little depressed or a little down, it's probably because you're thinking too much of yourself and you don't have that balance of intergenerational friendships or relationships, because we are created to serve others and to be in relationship. And even though it might be against the fabric of who we are to create relationships, if you don't begin to develop those at all different wavelengths and ages, then you're going to be void.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Lauren.
Lauren, ratchet and righteous.
Lauren, I'm that Lauren. I'm ratchet and righteous at the same time.
Me too.
Amen to that.
Me too.
I wouldn't say I'm
Is,
ratchet, but
are there any of you that are one or the other? So some of y'all are both. Are there any that are either or?
Me
Righteous
and
and
Shama are
ratchet.
both. Me and Shama are definitely both. Cindy
I
has a
feel like,
little touch of ratchet,
yeah, I'm
Just
some
but
just a little
sixties.
Sierra
bit.
and
That's right.
Nicole
Have balance.
are just all the way bougie.
We bougie and righteous.
Yeah.
I don't know how to be ratchet.
That is funny. Hey, if y'all, we're gonna wrap up in the next 5 minutes. If y'all have any other comments, let me know. If there are any men watching and y'all want to ask the ladies a question, maybe women do something and y'all just don't understand it, and you want to put a question out there for us to answer, we will answer it. So let's see. Shakisha says a healthy balance of ones, those who pour into you, twos on your level, and threes, those who you pour into. Facts.
Yep.
That is accurate. And if you don't have, ones and threes, you can always work on getting some. So it's never too late to pour into somebody else or to be poured into as well. Because some people, they do so much pouring that like they be dry, and you do need somebody else to pour
Yes.
into you. Or on the
Yes.
on the
But
other
like I'm always
end,
doing the pouring.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, and then you have the other spectrum
yeah.
Just
where you are so poured
Get
into
you
that you
for a little
just
something.
holding stuff in and you're a little constipated and you need to let it out.
Not
Amen.
constipated.
oh,
Some people are. They
Better
so
get you a
full.
laxative. Mm-hmm.
Don't and read the right label too.
Get you some
Okay,
boo boo tea.
oh,
that's
It's called
funny.
movement tea. It exists. Mm-hmm.
It works.
Lord.
Any other questions? If not, y'all put it in there. But I'm gonna ask you this question: what advice would you give to others about pursuing friendships or establishing a sisterhood? How can you go about finding one? I mean, can you get it in a Facebook group? You need to go to church. You need to like go to the library. How do you get a sisterhood, or what is the importance of one?
I think it all begins on what you need as an individual and then what you need as a collective. I believe in sisterhood because, like I said in the beginning, it keeps you accountable. It keeps you basically in the know. And like Nicole said, sometimes you can be so into yourself and like, I don't need no help. I'm good. Ain't nobody going to tell me how to do me. So to have that balance of someone that's looking on the outside, looking in like, no, that was not of God, that it was not of, a wife or a friend or a sister
Mm,
to
Mm-hmm.
help you understand to be a better person. I think that's the importance for me in having friendship and sisterhood to keep me in line, not only just as a person, but spiritually, lovingly. Because Lord, I need a little work on the vulnerable love part, but I'm getting there. Getting there. So I think that's
We
what it
definitely keep
really
you in
does for
line.
me.
All the way together.
Right. I would say it's never too late. I think a lot of women feel like once you hit your
Mhm.
30s or your 40s or your 50s, oh my goodness,
Mm.
I don't have any friends. I'm never going to get any. It's never too late. I feel like if the Bible says, write the vision, make it plain. And I think if you just write down your goals for your life and you just think about it, even think about a vision board. I mean, if friendship is a part of it, don't be ashamed of that. Like, if you want
Yeah.
friends, make that plain. And then what you have to do is you have to cultivate your own heart and make sure that you are open and ready to receive the people that God will bring into your life. Because a lot of times we ask God for things, but then we're so blocked off to Him, we can't receive the opportunities that He's bringing to us. So I would say that sisterhood is a beautiful thing. It is never too late, and God will place the right people in your life at the right time. But just make sure you have an open heart and an open mind to what God's
Yeah.
trying to do for you.
Mhm.
And it's fun.
It
We
is.
have fun.
It is.
Your
It is.
your new hashtag should be one word. Sierra be having a one word. She'd be like, yes, good, nope, okay.
Fun. See. But I will say, just as people have, I mean, I think Sierra said it. Sierra, even over the last year and a half, you have changed a whole lot. And I mean,
Yeah.
you've begun
Well,
to
I don't
come
know. I'm just
around.
saying, yeah, like I know, but good
Oh,
job.
well, you're an
Thanks,
honorary
Zach.
member. What I mean? I feel like I've seen growth in all of us in different respects. And I think that's a good thing.
Mhm.
Layer, Cynthia, y'all got anything? And if not,
Um,
you do. Okay, go ahead.
I would just say you have to be intentional about it.
Hmm.
Because if it's something that you want to work towards, you have to actually put in the work. If you want friendships, you have to be a good friend first before you expect people to be a friend to you. You can't just expect them, like you said, to pour into you and you're not giving anything out. If you actually want to be friendships, you have to be vulnerable. You have to share parts of yourself that you wouldn't normally. You have to cry a lot over the past year and a half when you hate crying.
The quest. Come on, CJ, with your mood lighting.
Cynthia.
Stop. I agree with everything they said. I do. I agree. Um, if anything, I would definitely say you have to be open to it first. You can't say I want friends, but you're not trying to make friends or you're not trying to be friendly. It's not going to happen. So
Hmm.
you definitely have to be open. You have to have an open heart. You have to be, willing to receive, willing to be receptive, willing to accept that everybody's not for you and you're not for everybody. So,
Hmm.
like Nicole was saying, you have to also, know yourself to know what it is that you really want. I might not be able to vibe with everybody. Everybody might not be able to take how often I might roll my eyes. So I'm not for everybody. So you just
Yeah,
you got to be open and willing to accept and willing to also face like those hard parts of yourself that you try to shield away. If you're really going to be friends with someone and have a real relationship, you got to be open to all of that. So one
that's
word I
good.
would just say openness. Be open, be genuine. And like I think Pastor Nat said, she became what she wanted to attract. So I
Hmm.
can't say I want this type of friend or I want people to show up for me if I'm not willing to do the same.
That's good.
Good
Well, if,
night.
if no, if right, we could end on that. Be blessed and be blocked. That is my takeaway from the night. Well, if there are no other questions, I'm gonna just go one by one for each of you, and just let's end with the best piece of information that has just changed your life. It could be a quote, it could be something a mentor, whoever said to you, and you're like, man, this changed my life, and if it changed your life, maybe it could change somebody else. And the caveat to this is the last person to answer has to close us out in prayer.
Ha.
I'm going first.
So the first.
See, Sierra gonna go first.
Oh God. Psych, but for real, I'm gonna go first.
See.
I would say the best thing for what was the question again? I'm sorry.
She was like, I don't care what the question is. I'm not going last. I'm not closing out prayer. It
What was the
was
question?
give us one piece of advice that somebody gave to you that like changed your life, Or, I mean, maybe you have some words of wisdom that you want to share with somebody else before we
Okay.
close out tonight.
I would just say that for anyone whose personality is closer to mine, it is um, you. It is okay to have female friends. Not
Mm.
every female is jealous of you or hate on you, whatever the case may be. And I needed more mature friends because friends in my age bracket, being where I am in my life, just didn't go. So I'm grateful to have friends who are married and friends who've had kids and friends who are older than me because I like being a
Yeah,
baby too.
Well, I thought I
that's
was the
true. There's a
baby.
perk.
Then here
There's
you
a
go.
perk that comes along with being the youngest.
Yes, it does. And that's it.
That's good.
Um,
Oh,
Kashama
mine
says
will
to me,
be
I'm
don't
talking.
necessarily say it's a quote or, but I think you should just love everybody like you would want
Wow.
someone to love you, your mother, brother, sister, or cousin. And I will also say that my biggest takeaway from being involved in the church and as part of Flossy Posse is be open to criticism.
Hmm.
And not
Yeah,
all criticism is to break you down, it's to build you up. And
yeah.
that's something that I learned
Yeah.
being in this group.
That's good.
And my husband, probably who's watching, can contest to it. I hate to be criticized, so I'll
Mm-hmm.
take it as you trying to belittle me.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I'm learning that sometimes you have to be broken down to be built back up
Mm-hmm.
in order to be stronger
That's
at the
true.
root versus just being the limb barely hanging on. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
I would take away from, or what I would say for anyone that's closer to me. If you're the vulnerable person who's been through a lot in your life, just be open to not every criticism is to break you down as like completely and harm you, but to also uplift you.
That's good. All y'all saying good stuff. Who's
Hmm.
next? Leah.
Me.
All right, go ahead.
And then
uh,
I'm gonna go because CJ gonna pray.
That is the best.
I pray.
I know.
um, Kashama says to me all the time, nothing comes out of your comfort zone. So
Mm.
you have to, in this whole experience, I've learned that it's okay to allow other people to stretch you and to allow God to stretch you. And sometimes you just have to do stuff scared, or you just have to do stuff that you wouldn't normally be accustomed to because there could be something greater on the other side of it. So you just gotta do it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mhm. Okay,
Jump.
I kind of have two things. Okay, so first
Of
I would
course.
say, right.
Why
First, I
wouldn't you?
First, I would say work on yourself first. A lot of
Mm.
times we're looking for fulfillment in other individuals, whether that's a life partner or whether that's a new best friend or a new friend group. But you really have to work on strengthening yourself and knowing who you are inside and out, because only then can you, like my mom said, reflect what you want to attract into your life. And then you'll attract the right things instead of the wrong relationships. And then it ties into this quote that says, be more concerned with your character than with your reputation, because your reputation is merely who people think you are. Your character is
Mm-hmm.
actually who you truly are inside. So work on your character building. If you feel like you're in a down place where you don't have friends or you don't have somebody else to build you up, it's probably because God's telling you he wants to build you up. And you need to work on
Mhm.
building yourself up and strengthening who you are at your core. Because once you're strong, you're going to be so much more attractive to everyone around you, men and women. Okay. Okay. The end.
Good.
Y'all ready for me to pray?
Chirp,
Cynthia.
chirp. We
You
want
gotta
to hear
tell
your
us
After you
advice
give
first.
us
first.
your advice.
We gotta hear
I
your
did
answer
like a
first.
whole
You ain't gonna get away and just
I
go to
did
the
a
breakout.
whole soliloquy earlier.
We want to hear
Um
another sermonette.
You want why you want a different
Not a
question?
soliloquy.
Uh-oh.
mm, you gonna give me a different question?
No, it was just something I've been thinking. It's separate, but how can people? No, I'll save that for later.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
what
Give your
okay.
advice.
So what would I say to someone? Like I said before, be open Be open. Be willing to accept what God has for you. Because I really feel like this group was formed and came together because we all had a prayer request out there. Um, Something that we
Mhm.
needed and something that we wanted, whether we even acknowledge that really. So just be open, be willing to accept what God has for you. I would say be genuine, love hard, know it's okay. Um, be yourself because nobody wants a fake you. So be yourself. For me, I'm a giver. I like for people to feel special because I like to feel special. And so
Mhm.
I try to impart that in the group. So regardless of what comes from it or whatever, be yourself and be okay with putting that out there. And what else would I say? Live on purpose, be intentional. Your sister said to me one time, I was
Mhm.
volunteering for something, and she was like, "How are you doing today?" And I was like, I'm maintaining. And she was like, "You're not thriving," and that stuck with
Mhm.
me.
That's good.
So
Mm.
be intentional, live and live on purpose. Stop existing, stop accepting, just whatever. Go for what it is that you want. So if it's friendships that you want, if it's love that you want, put that out there. Be that so
Yeah,
that that's what you attract.
that's
Good night,
good.
guys. Love you.
Is that your prayer?
Oh, okay, I'm ready. I practiced in the car earlier just in case. Okay.
Did you really? For real?
I believe
I
it.
did. I like to be prepared.
You practice prayers? That's I like that.
Let me get
Yeah,
ready for this. I
if
brought
I
my.
need to.
I'm not even
You
mad.
Oh, you got your skinny
I
popcorn?
did.
I'm gonna keep my eyes open.
so for yeah, I'm gonna keep my eyes open too so I can see everybody. But first of all, before we close out, I want to thank everybody for coming on and meeting all of us. We're so grateful that y'all chose to hang out with us tonight. And we want you all
Yes.
to be encouraged. So if it's friendships you're
Yes.
looking for, if it's love you're looking for, whether it's from somebody else or just within yourself, put that out there. Give it to God, release it to Him, and He's going to send you exactly what you need. So, God, we thank you tonight for this fellowship. We thank you, God, for this circle. We thank you, God, for answering our prayers. God, we pray for everybody who was joined with us tonight. We even pray for those that'll be watching later on. We thank you for this time, God. We thank you for new relationships being built and fostered, God. We thank you for C3 and the ministry and the fact that they let us exist and be ourselves, God, and just give our all, Lord. We thank you for all you've done. We thank you for all that you continue to do. Bless everyone affected by COVID-19. Bless us
Yeah.
all through these transitions. In your name we pray. Amen.
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 Praise
That was
God.
so
Yes.
You
good.
better
I mean,
pray,
she did the
girl.
close. Right. She did the
Mm.
closing and everything. Well, she said it. Thank y'all for tuning in. And we look forward to many, many more conversations and groups. And we plan, I don't know if y'all know or not, but we plan to thrive in the midst of COVID-19 as a church,
Right.
as a group, in our relationships and everything. This isn't a setback for us. This is just a time of transition. And we believe that God has even greater in store. So we hope that you all have a phenomenal night.
Love
And
y'all.
Night,
Love
love you.
you. Good
Bye.
night.
Bye. Good
Good
night.
good night.
night.
Good
Love
night.
y'all.